Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Nurse Career Blueprint YouTube channel. I'm so excited to dive into today's topic because it's something I'm incredibly passionate about, helping aspiring nurse practitioners like you conquer the ANCC board exam. As many of you know, my name is Miriam and I'm a nurse practitioner and educator, navigating the world of NP school, graduation, and then, of course, the dreaded board exam can be a roller coaster of emotions. Trust me, I've been there. Remember those late nights hunched over textbooks, the endless cups of coffee, and the feeling that the exam was always looming? Yeah, I feel you. But here's the good news. I passed the ANCC NP board exam on my first try, and I'm here to share all the tips, tricks, and strategies that helped me succeed. The truth is, passing this exam isn't about luck. It's about putting in the right kind of effort, having a solid study plan, and believing in yourself. So let's break down the steps to help you ace this exam and start your dream career as a certified nurse practitioner. Before we even think about cracking open those textbooks, we need to understand what we're dealing with here. Think of it like this. You wouldn't walk into a boxing ring without knowing your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, right? The same goes for the ANCC exam. First things first, head over to the ANCC website. Don't worry, I'll put the link in the description box below. Take some time to thoroughly explore their resources. They have a detailed exam handbook that outlines everything you need to know. The exam format, the content areas covered, and even sample questions. Trust me, familiarizing yourself with this information is crucial. You'll notice that the ANCC exam uses a multiple choice format, which might sound familiar from nursing school. But don't let that fool you. These questions are designed to assess your critical thinking skills and ability to apply your knowledge in real-world scenarios. The content itself is broken down into different domains, each focusing on essential aspects of nurse practitioner practice. We're talking about things like patient assessment, diagnosis and management of various health conditions, pharmacology, and of course, ethical and legal considerations. Knowing how much each domain contributes to the overall score can help you prioritize your study time. Now, while it's tempting to jump right into studying the content you find the most challenging, I encourage you to take a step back. Remember, the ANCC exam tests your overall competency as a nurse practitioner. That means having a strong foundation in all areas is essential, even the ones you feel confident about. Take your time with this step, guys. Print out the exam handbook, highlight key information, and really let it sink in. The more you understand the exam's structure and content, the better equipped you'll be to create a study plan that plays to your strengths and addresses your weaknesses. Now that you're familiar with the ANCC exam structure and content, it's time to create our roadmap to success, a comprehensive study plan. This is where things start to get personalized. So grab a notebook, your favorite pens, and let's get organized. The first step is figuring out how much time you realistically have until your exam date. Be honest with yourself about your other commitments, work, family, maybe even squeezing in some sleep. Once you have a clear picture of your available study time, we can break it down into manageable chunks. I'm a big fan of creating a weekly study schedule and sticking to it as much as possible. Look at your week and block out specific times dedicated solely to studying. Treat these study blocks like important appointments you can't miss. Consistency is key here, guys. Now, remember those content domains we talked about earlier? This is where they come into play. Divide your study time proportionally to each domain's weight on the exam. For example, if a particular domain accounts for 30% of the exam questions, allocate 30% of your study time to it. It makes sense, right? But here's the thing, studying shouldn't feel like a chore. Incorporate different study methods to keep things interesting and cater to your learning style. Some people swear by flashcards for memorizing key facts, while others prefer practice questions to test their understanding. Experiment and find what works best for you. Don't be afraid to switch things up. If you find yourself getting bored or zoning out, take a break or move on to a different subject. Our brains are like sponges. They can only absorb so much information at once. One more thing, don't underestimate the power of setting realistic goals. Instead of trying to conquer the entire ANCC exam content in a week, break it down into smaller, more achievable milestones. Celebrating these small victories along the way can do wonders for your motivation and keep you going strong. Remember, your study plan should be your guide, not your dictator. Life happens, and sometimes you'll need to adjust your schedule. That's perfectly okay. The important thing is to stay flexible, stay focused, and keep your eyes on the prize, that beautiful, shiny ANCC certification. All right, guys, let's talk about study materials, the tools that will help you conquer this exam. Think of it like this. A carpenter wouldn't show up to a job with a rusty old hammer and expect to build a masterpiece, right? The same principle applies here. Investing in high-quality study materials can make all the difference in your preparation. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Miriam, study materials can be expensive. And you're right, they can be. But think of it as an investment in your future as a certified nurse practitioner. The knowledge and confidence you gain from these resources are priceless. So, what kind of study materials should you be looking for? Well, a good ANCC review book is a must-have. Look for one that's comprehensive, up-to-date, and written in a way that's easy for you to understand. Don't be afraid to check out reviews online or ask other NPs for their recommendations. In addition to a review book, consider investing in a question bank. Practice questions are your secret weapon for acing this exam. They help you familiarize yourself with the question format, identify your strengths and weaknesses, and get used to thinking critically under pressure. There are tons of online resources available too. Look for reputable websites or apps that offer ANCC practice tests, flashcards, and other study aids. Some even offer personalized study plans based on your strengths and weaknesses. How cool is that? Now, a word of caution. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of shiny new study materials. But remember, more doesn't always equal better. Choose resources that align with your learning style and the content areas you need to focus on. Don't be afraid to ask yourself, does this resource truly add value to my study plan? If the answer is no, it might be best to skip it. Your time is precious, so use it wisely. And remember, guys, quality over quantity always wins. It's better to invest in a few excellent resources that you'll actually use and benefit from than to overwhelm yourself with a mountain of materials that end up collecting dust on your shelf. Chapter 4. Focus on key content areas. Okay, so we've covered understanding the exam structure, creating a study plan, and gathering your study materials. Now let's dive into the meat of the matter, the content itself. While the ANCC exam covers a broad range of topics, some content areas are essential to focus on. First and foremost, let's talk about assessment. This is the foundation of everything we do as nurse practitioners. You need to be able to gather a comprehensive patient history, perform a thorough physical examination, and interpret those findings accurately. Brush up on your assessment skills for different body systems and practice those special tests. You never know what might pop up on the exam. Next, we have diagnosis and management. This is where your clinical reasoning skills come into play. The ANCC exam will test your ability to differentiate between various health conditions, order appropriate diagnostic tests, and develop safe and effective treatment plans. Pay close attention to common presentations of different diseases, evidence-based treatment guidelines, and red flags that might indicate a more serious condition. Pharmacology is another big one, guys. You need to know your medications inside and out. Indications, contraindications, side effects, drug interactions, you name it. Focus on commonly prescribed medications across different specialties, as well as those with a narrow therapeutic index or a high risk of adverse effects. Of course, we can't forget about ethical and legal considerations. As nurse practitioners, we have a responsibility to provide safe, competent, and ethical care to our patients. Review the legal scope of practice for NPs in your state, as well as ethical principles like autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. Now, I know this might sound like a lot, but don't panic. Remember, you've been learning this material throughout your entire NP program. The key is to use your study time efficiently to refresh your memory and focus on those high-yield topics. Use your ANCC review book and other study materials to guide your content review. Make flashcards, create concept maps, or even teach the material to someone else. The more actively you engage with the information, the better you'll retain it. And remember, guys, the ANCC exam isn't about rote memorization. It's about applying your knowledge to real-world scenarios. So as you're studying, try to connect the dots between different concepts and think about how you would apply your knowledge in a clinical setting. Chapter 5. Master Test-Taking Strategies. All right, everyone, let's talk about test-taking strategies. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've been taking tests your whole life. How different can the ANCC exam be? Well, while you've undoubtedly developed some solid test-taking skills over the years, the ANCC exam requires a specific approach. First things first, time management is crucial. You'll have a limited amount of time to answer a significant number of questions, so make every second count. During your practice sessions, simulate exam conditions as closely as possible. Set a timer and aim to answer each question within a reasonable time frame. Now let's talk about those tricky multiple-choice questions. One helpful strategy is to read the question stem carefully, identifying the key pieces of information. Then, try to formulate your answer before even looking at the options. This can help prevent you from getting swayed by distractors, those answer choices that seem plausible but are ultimately incorrect. Speaking of distractors, the ANCC exam is notorious for them. They're designed to trip you up, so be prepared. Pay attention to words like always, never, all, and none. These absolute terms often indicate a wrong answer, as there are usually exceptions in medicine. If you're unsure of an answer, don't panic. Use the process of elimination to narrow down your choices. Eliminate any options that are clearly incorrect or don't make sense in the context of the question. This will increase your chances of selecting the right answer, even if you're not entirely sure. Don't be afraid to use the mark and move on strategy if you encounter a particularly challenging question. Dwelling on a single question for too long can eat up valuable time. Mark it, move on, and come back to it later if you have time. Remember, the ANCC exam is as much a test of your knowledge as it is of your ability to stay calm and focused under pressure. Take deep breaths, trust your instincts, and don't second-guess yourself. And finally, don't underestimate the power of positive self-talk. Go into that exam room believing in yourself and your abilities. You've got this. Chapter 6. Now let's talk about a critical aspect of the ANCC exam: clinical guidelines and evidence-based practice. The ANCC wants to ensure that you, as a newly certified nurse practitioner, are equipped to provide the most up-to-date and effective care to your patients. And that means staying current with the latest clinical guidelines and research. Clinical practice guidelines are like roadmaps for healthcare providers. They provide evidence-based recommendations for diagnosing, managing, and treating various health conditions. These guidelines are developed by expert panels who review the latest research and translate that research into practical recommendations for clinical practice. The ANCC exam will often present you with clinical scenarios and expect you to apply these guidelines to make informed decisions about patient care. So, how do you stay updated? Professional organizations are your best friend. Familiarize yourself with guidelines published by organizations like the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, depending on your chosen specialty. Now let's talk about evidence-based practice. This is all about integrating the best available research evidence with your clinical expertise and patient values to make sound clinical decisions. The ANCC exam may ask you to interpret research findings, identify different types of studies, or evaluate the strength of evidence supporting a particular intervention. Don't be intimidated by research. Focus on understanding the basic principles of research methodology, such as different study designs, statistical significance, and clinical relevance. Remember, you don't need to be a research expert to answer these questions correctly. You need a basic understanding of how to apply research findings to real-world practice. One way to become more comfortable with research is to read nursing journals regularly. Choose journals that are relevant to your specialty and focus on articles that discuss clinical guidelines or present the latest research findings. Paying attention to the latest advancements in your field will not only make you a better clinician, but also prepare you for those evidence-based practice questions on the ANCC exam. Chapter 7. Alright guys, let's talk about something super important: self-care during exam preparation. It's easy to get caught up in the stress of studying, late nights, and the pressure to succeed. But remember, you're not a robot. You can't expect to function at your best if you're running on fumes. First and foremost, prioritize sleep. I know it's tempting to pull all-nighters, especially as the exam gets closer, but trust me, it's not worth it. Sleep deprivation can wreak havoc on your concentration, memory, and overall cognitive function. Not exactly what you want when you're about to take a major exam. Make sure you're getting at least 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night. Establish a regular sleep-wake cycle. Create a relaxing bedtime routine, and make sure your bedroom is conducive to sleep: dark, quiet, and cool. Next up, nutrition. You've heard it before, food is fuel. And just like a car can't run on an empty tank, neither can your brain. Nourish your body with healthy whole foods that provide sustained energy throughout the day. Think fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. Avoid sugary drinks, processed foods, and excessive caffeine, which can lead to energy crashes and hinder your concentration. Now, let's talk about exercise. I know, squeezing in a workout while you're busy studying might seem impossible. But trust me, even a little bit of physical activity can make a world of difference. Exercise is a fantastic stress reliever. It releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in your brain that can boost your mood, improve your focus, and help you sleep better. Find an activity you enjoy and make it a part of your routine. Whether it's going for a run, hitting the gym, or even just taking a brisk walk in nature, find ways to move your body and de-stress. Remember, self-care is not selfish, it's essential. By taking care of your physical and mental health, you're setting yourself up for success on the ANCC exam and in your future career as a nurse practitioner. Chapter 8. We're in the home stretch now, guys. Exam day is just around the corner. At this point, you've put in the hard work, you've studied diligently, and you're ready to rock this exam. But your preparation doesn't end with studying. Being mentally and logistically ready for exam day is just as important as knowing the content. First things first, know where you're going. A few days before your exam, visit the testing center. Familiarize yourself with the location, parking situation, and even the layout of the building. This will help ease any anxiety you might have about navigating an unfamiliar environment on exam day. Pack your bag the night before. Don't leave anything to chance. Make sure you have your admission ticket, a valid photo ID, and any other required documents. Pack some essentials like water, snacks, tissues, and a sweater, as testing centers can be unpredictable with their temperature. Plan your outfit strategically. Comfort is key here, guys. You'll be sitting for an extended period, so choose loose-fitting, breathable clothing. Layers are always a good idea in case the testing center is too hot or too cold. And most importantly, wear comfortable shoes. Now, let's talk about the morning of the exam. Start your day with a nutritious breakfast. Nothing too heavy or greasy that might upset your stomach. Avoid cramming or last-minute panicking. Trust me, you've put in the work. Now it's time to relax and believe in yourself. Give yourself plenty of time to get to the testing center. Factor in traffic, parking, and any unexpected delays. Arriving early will give you time to settle in, take some deep breaths, and center yourself before the exam begins. Once you're in the testing room, find your assigned computer, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you've got this. You've prepared diligently, you're confident in your knowledge, and you're ready to show the ANCC what you're made of. Outro, congratulations everyone, you made it! You've just gone through an intense but incredibly rewarding journey to becoming a certified nurse practitioner. I'm so proud of your dedication and commitment to this profession. Remember that feeling of accomplishment as you move forward in your career. For those who want to take their preparation to the next level, check out our comprehensive NP review courses at npexamprep.com. We'll guide you every step of the way, providing you with the tools and resources you need to ace that exam and launch your dream career as a certified nurse practitioner. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more helpful tips and advice on all things nursing and nurse practitioner related. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and leave a comment below sharing your own exam prep experiences or any questions you might have. Thank you so much for watching, and best of luck on your journey to becoming a rockstar nurse practitioner. Before you go, don't forget to check the description box below for a direct link to npexamprep.com. There, you'll find comprehensive review courses, additional resources, and personalized guidance to help you ace the ANCC exam. Our team is dedicated to supporting you every step of the way. Make sure to take advantage of these valuable tools to maximize your preparation. Thank you for watching, and here's to your success as a future nurse practitioner.